So the goal here is we sold Miss Johnson in January. We have contacted Miss Johnson since we sold the car, assuming it was December. We've actually contacted Miss Johnson 6 times over the course of 12 months with gaps in between. Okay. So I'm giving you a plan of action. Obviously, every single communication and contact, we have the opportunity to ask for a referral. Somebody that may be in the market in their family or at the house. All right. Here's the key. If you can start changing your perspective and paradigm, most times in most car dealerships, you sell a car. Have you ever had this situation? This is the worst shit I've ever seen. You got a guy that sold a car to somebody. 3 days later, the guy comes in. He's got his title. He comes to the receptionist. He says, hey, I just bought a car and I need to bring my title in. Receptionist says, who was your salesman? And the guy goes, he was about this tall, had brown hair. It was 3 days ago, and he doesn't even remember your name. Not y'all, but you know the scenario I'm painting. What that tells me is we didn't even build any type of relationship, let alone long-term relationship, through the process. Listen, if you guys are averaging 10 cars a month, that's 120 cars you sold for the year, and every single one of those should be worth 2 customers they know. That's 240 opportunities at 35% close ratio on referrals. I mean, you're talking that's an extra 65 opportunities sitting on the table from people you've already sold, but yet here we are talking about working the service drive on somebody cold. Here we are talking data mining, figuring out a script on how we can open the door and talk to somebody cold, but we've sold people that we should have a little relationship with, but because it's been 7 months since we've talked to them, or 11 months, or it was last year, we got this uncomfortable feeling in the pit of our stomach, right? So it's like, what do I say? What do I say? Well, again, the day after you know what to say. A 10-day follow-up is just a touch point of making sure the car's working well, anything that any odds and ends that need to be fixed, as well as in a referral conversation. Okay. And then every 4 months, you're contacting the customer regarding on mileage or time based on service. It's a real simple call. Hey, John, I'm just thinking of you, man. I know it's been about 3-4 months. Is your car due for service? Can I help you with anything? I'm your car guy. Is there anything I can do to help you with service? Have you already serviced it yet, or are you getting ready to service it? You have a conversation, you have some dialogue, continue to build a rapport. Say, great, if I can help you, just let me know. You got my cell number, just text me. All right. And then put forth the effort if the guy actually texts you. And then here you go with an email and a video. Real simple. You got ChatGPT, you do a quick video. Hey man, it's the first of the year. I just want to tell you, I wish you a happy new year. Hope you have a fantastic year. If I can help you or your family, your friends, any way, shape, or form with an automobile, you know I'm here for you, but I hope you have a great year. That's the video. And the email sounds very similar. 4th of July. Same thing. Hey, man, just want to wish you a happy 4th. Hope things are well. Don't burn yourself with the fireworks, man. Enjoy you and your family. I hope you guys enjoy this time. And remember, I'm here for you if you need anything automotive-wise for your friends or family. Again, if I can help you in any way, I'd love to, man. I hope you guys have a great 4th. Look, it's not rocket science. Memorial Day, right? I mean, again, the whole point is to keep your name in front of your customer to avoid somebody being there. Like, I think Joe's been there. Shit, I don't know, Joe, how long you been there? 10 years? I mean, you've been there for a minute, right?
Yes, sir.
Right? So Joe's been there for a hot second. And then all of a sudden, Joe sold somebody 6 years ago that he hadn't kept up with because he's busy or whatever the case may be, right? And then all of a sudden, Maya's with the customer. And Joe's like, hey, man, why is my customer with Maya, right? Because Joe recognizes, right? But that can happen because we hadn't made any contact, right? So here's what I want you to, I want you to just wrap your head around where I'm coming from on this. Hold on. Did everybody write this down? Everybody get this? Sold customer game plan? Okay. I want to show you the numbers. This is crazy. This is super, super crazy when you really understand this. Let's say your baseline as a salesperson at the dealership is 10 cars a month. Okay. And I'm telling you, if you'll do what I've asked you to do, if you'll do the things that I ask you to do from social, from service, and from data mining, which we have some work to do on our end to make sure that these leads we're data mining pop in the system. But I'm telling you, you'll get 3 to 5 3 to 5, and 3 to 5. Extra deals. If you're a baseline guy and work I'm asking you to work, there's no reason in the world you can't get another 12 to 15 deals in 60 to 90 days once you learn how to prospect that. That's just phase one. Now let's talk about your sold customers. If you take your sold customers, this is the staggering part. I have my list because I wrote this down for you guys. Here we go. My bad. So this would be like a 2-year plan. So again, this is strategic. This is long-term thinking. Some of you have been there for a minute already. I'm talking, just think about this logically. If you're going to be selling cars for a while, okay, if you're asking 10 you're selling 10 cars a month and you're asking for 2 referrals you're getting 2 from every customer, you're talking that's 120 times 2, that's 240 opportunities. That's just selling 10 cars a month. That's not saying you're getting social, you're getting service, you're getting data mining. If you're selling 15 or 17 or 19 cars, you're growing your business. You got two referrals just on a 10 car average. That's what I'm sharing as a game plan. 240 opportunities of people you can talk to. That's just 2 referrals. We're not talking about 5 or 7, just 2 over the course of a year. Okay. At 35% close ratio. Okay. That's 84 deals. That's an extra 7 a month. That's just 1 year, right? So when I'm telling you 35% close ratio, I think that's light, but I'm being conservative. It's only 7 extra deals a month. It's not a lot. It's only 7. So if you go from 10 and you end up getting 7 a month just from your sold customers, you're at 17. If you're working social service and data mining and you're getting into 3 to 5, you're talking, you're quickly at 22, 25 cars a month. But exponentially, the second year, you're not selling 10 cars. Now all of a sudden you're selling 20 times 2. Okay, so now you got 240 times 2. So now all of a sudden you're 480 at 35%. Now you're talking 125 deals, which is 10 more a month than what you already were selling. So there's power in these numbers. Listen, I know most of you guys are thinking, okay, that sounds fantastic. It's going to take a little work. There's no doubt about it. We're going to have to work it. I mean, we're going to have to work it to be able to execute it. But the goal is, if we're starting at a baseline of 8, 9, 10 cars a month from social media service drive and data mining done properly, right? You've got the scripts. And here's the other thing I was going to share with you guys. I'm working with you. You guys have my cell phone number. If somebody needs to call me and say, Louie, I need you to go a step further and I need to take 20 minutes with you, I'll do it in a heartbeat. The goal is to help you guys understand so you can execute and start grabbing some extra deals. Otherwise, what's going to happen is we're going to go through some of the basic fundamentals and no growth takes place. And all of a sudden you're blacked out and crapped out, but you have all the tools necessary to grow yourself. When you start looking at this being your business, what can you do to maximize your business, how you can make it grow and get to the next level? Okay. Are there any questions on what I just went over? Can somebody, is there any feedback? Managers, talk to me.
Yeah. Can you go into detail a little bit more on data mining? And do you have like processes or a PDF or something that kind of breaks that down a little bit more?
Yep. Absolutely. All right. So the service scripts that I gave you are really data mining scripts as well. Okay. So here's how a data mining script goes. Here's what should look like, team. Sarah from eLeads and Ross and the manager should be figuring out a way to get you guys 6 or 7, 4 or 5 orphan owners in your organizer daily. I want new names in there so you're not beating up the same stuff, so you have some stuff to put your arms around. So when you get these customers that are in your eLeads, your organizer, all you're simply doing is this. Okay. And I'll put this together because the opening, how I say this is critical important. It's a super important, again, the word choice. Okay. So I call up somebody on let's say it's Steve. Hey, Steve, this is Louie down at Mitchell Nissan. How you doing today? I'm doing fantastic. Hey, listen, I just was reviewing your account. Stop right there. I'm reviewing your account and my general manager wanted me to call you to let you know that you qualify for some programs based on your preceding account. Do you have 30 seconds? 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, what account and what are you talking about? Well, let me ask you a question. Do you still currently own? Now we get into the car, and now we convert it just like it would be with the service script, or we can go the direction of doing the paid to trade or whatever service script that we have that they can qualify for. So I'm reviewing your account. My general manager wanted me to call you. You qualify for one of the programs, and I wanted to touch base and see if you still own the 2019 Nissan Versa. Yes, I still own it. No, I don't own it. I traded it. Fantastic. How long ago did you trade it? I traded it a year ago. Great. What'd you end up getting? Again, all we're doing is opening the door, and now we're talking about either A, listen, I got a guy here at the dealership. His name is Anthony. He's looking to buy cars. Your car showed up. Actually, you traded your Sentra for an Altima. We actually need 20 to 22 model Altimas as well. Would you be willing to sell? Would you be interested in selling your car? Guy says, no, I'm not interested. You know, it's funny, Steve. Had you been interested, you'd have called me. I get that. Can I ask you a question? Market's kind of crazy. Market's really crazy. If I could pay you more than what the car was worth, would that interest you? You're either going to say, well, how much are you talking? Or no, I'm not interested. Here's the point. The point is, you've got direction to go when you get these fresh. All you're doing is saying, I've been reviewing your account, and based on your account, my general manager wanted me to give you a shout and call you and let you know that you qualify for programs that most of our customers don't. I got a question. Do you still own X? Does everybody understand that lead into that script?
Sure.
Super simple. And here's what I'm telling you guys. If you'll make 4 or 5 of these calls a day, if you'll make 4 or 5 service RO calls a day, you're going to get better at it. And when you actually get somebody, do you realize how many people you call that are currently driving a car that had bad credit or had a situation or a scenario that they would love to get out of the car, but they can't because they tried with negative equity or whatever excuse? You would be surprised how many people go, yeah, I'd love for you to buy my car. And if you get 2 or 3 of those where you actually set an appointment to get somebody in the dealership and work a car deal, you're going to start to feel like, you know what, shit, this may work. But right now, there's no social proof because we're not doing the first part. We're not actually calling 5 or 6 every single day, right? That would be 30 every single week. And at the end of this month, we should have already had, everyone in the room should have already reached out to at least 100 people with data mining or service ROs, and that hadn't happened. So we don't have the social proof to show what I'm sharing with you. Does that make sense? Is there any other questions with regarding that? Sales team, do y'all have any questions? Do you guys get that?
Yeah, I do, Louie.
Go ahead.
So I was talking to my manager the other day about that assessment, that meet and greet assessment. It's I kind of do it outside, and that's my problem. My problem is inside because I'm doing it right then. Like it's kind of instilled. That's what I've been doing. I ain't been doing it for a while, so it's a little harder for me to get them inside because I'm kind of already asking them those questions there. You know, I like to be at the crime of the scene, like as I say, at the car. You know, we got to kind of more comfortable with it. I kind of already do that. So what'll be an easier route for me to kind of bring them inside? Like I said, I it's just in me to do it. I can help myself.
Yeah. There's not an easier route. It's either you do or you don't, and that's a choice that you have to make. And here's what I'll tell you, and this may connect with you. Most salespeople, and I fell into the same camp when I first started selling cars, they're interested in selling a car. They're not interested in building a relationship. I don't give a damn about no relationship. I'm trying to sell a car today. Not a problem. I understand. We all are. And the end goal is to sell a car today. If you can flip your script and communicate to a consumer, then listen, a lot of my business is done on referrals and repeat, and I build a relationship. I don't just wing it out here. You know, I take the time to really fact find, speed up the process, make it more efficient for the customer, and make sure the experience is as great as it can be for the consumer. And you take that perspective. I mean, again, I think the only reason why you feel the way you feel, yes, you have some experience. Yes, you've been doing it like that for years because that's the way you were taught. There ain't many sales managers in the country telling people, sales guys, to bring the customers inside the dealership and do a needs assessment. Believe it or not, it's in some stores don't even have a needs assessment sheet. What I'm sharing with you is I want to slow the process down so I can wind that thing and speed it up. If I can, listen to me, if I can get a customer to sit in front of me and consult with me for just a few minutes, and I can find out the crime scene, I can find out how they bought their last car, I can settle them down, get them a cup of coffee, something cold to drink, build a relationship, start to build some rapport and get a friendship, understand where they're coming from, where they work and their hobbies and those things, where I'm not so consumed with trying to land them on the car that I think they need to be on. Because the reality is, and again, I had a meeting with the managers last week. I mean, there's the wanted board. There's so many things, pieces that I want to put in place where there's inventory purchased and traded for that you may not even be aware of until it's late in the game and you've already placed them on another car. And again, you can sell a car like you've been doing it. But to answer your question, there's not an easier way. We either do one of two things. We either consult with the customer up front, slow it down, extract everything we need to tighten this deal up, because I'm getting ready to close them later. And I want to act like an attorney. An attorney only asks the questions he knows the answers to in front of the jury. So I want to be able to, when I place that proposal in front of them, I want to be able to say, you told me, you said to me. I'm not saying we can't do that outside. All I'm saying is the probability of maximizing the gross by getting a manager involved, by touching the desk, by getting an EMI and getting all that data up front, which, by the way, should only, when we do a needs assessment, it should take 7-8 minutes at best, 10 minutes max. It should not be, we're not hanging out for 30 minutes. We just want to slow it down enough to make the customer feel like they're heard, repeat back to them what we heard them say, touch the desk, get an EMI, and go on our way. So that's going to be really that's going to be you taking the chance to do something that's uncomfortable because you got a groove. You know how you operate. So all I would do is, how many cars you get out for the month?
I don't know.
Yeah. How many? What's not enough? What's the number?
Oh, 3.5.
Yeah. So all I'm saying is, what do you got to lose?
Nothing.
You know, my question to everybody in the room is, if you look at your number month to date and some of the things that I'm going over with you, you understand but haven't been doing, what do you have to lose by putting forth the effort and the activities to make certain that you can put your best foot forward to increase some of the volume that you got currently going on? Right? So again, the battle's always between you and you, but I would just encourage you, man, hey, the next customer you greet, start your fact find like you normally do, have some questions and conversations, and make sure they're sharing with you, and just say, hey man, based on what you shared with me, I think I got some great options. Follow me. Sit them down. As soon as you sit them down, say, hey, look, I do things a little differently. I take 5 or 6 minutes before we actually go select a car, because really and truly, I build relationships and sell a lot of my customers through referrals and repeat. You know, so for that, and the only way I can do that is make sure that I deliver the best experience to the customer and make sure they get the most car for the least amount of money. That's what I do. So real quick, so I don't make the same mistakes that a lot of salespeople make, would you do me a favor? Would you share with me how you like to buy your next car? That way I can better serve you, and I can, do the things that I normally do with the customers that I interact with. And then boom, you're into the process, right? And hopefully the managers are walking the showroom, they see you with them, then they come over, they meet them. Again, you're talking 5, 6, 8 minutes to slow the deal down and put it together. It's no different than literally, if we're doing a good job on the phone up and we're setting an appointment on the phone up, everyone in the room knows that if I talk to a customer on the phone for 1 minute and 45 seconds and I get an appointment out of there, the likelihood of that appointment may not show. If I sit on the phone with somebody for 11 minutes and we had dialogue and conversation, and then I set an appointment, the likelihood of that customer is probably showing more than the other, because there's been some rapport. You're forced to dive in a little bit more on the phone because they're not in front of you, and we want to stay on the phone longer and ask more high quality questions. So again, that's what's important to make sure that you guys are on the same page with. So, all right. Any last questions on what I covered so far? Are you guys any questions on the customers you've sold? When you leave here today, I would go right back out. If you have not a lot of leads to work, I would go right back out and get with Ross, get with your managers, and get you a sold list. And I'd start reaching out. I'd do a video for those people. I'd send them an email. And most of you, at least for this year, probably have 75 emails and videos you can send out to a consumer. And all I'd be doing is say, hey, it's Thanksgiving week. It's Thanksgiving week. I just want to tell you, man, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving holiday. It's Louie down at Mitchell Nissan. Hey, if you need anything automotive, you know I'm always here for you. And by the way, if you need something for your next service, just text me. You guys got my number. It's 555-121212. But more importantly, hey, man, have a great holiday. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. If I can do something, let me know. Right?
Cool.
You know what I'm saying? Boom. So you just got to, but right now you've got probably minimum, everyone in the room's got 50 to 60 of those they can send out today. Right? And you don't have to wear yourself out. Get how many customers you have, and just over the next 4 days, next 3 days, just send out, 15 a day, 20 a day. Again, you'll be surprised how many people may still be in the market. Some of you guys have people that are 3 years old that you can go back and do that with, right? So, all right. Any last questions on that? Because I want to do a little bit of role play before we get out of here. Any questions on what we've covered so far today? Any obstacles you guys have had with what you've been watching on the video series or any of the meetings and interaction we've had? Any obstacles, anything you're running into that's been a challenge? Everybody good? Okay. So, all right. So let's go around. Here's the objection. We're in the close. You've presented numbers to a customer. Customer tells you payment's too high. Payment's too high. Okay. So, Ted.
Yes.
I'm rolling with you. I like the car. I love the car. You present me the numbers, and I said, Ted, I'll be honest with you, man. That payment's just a little too high for me.
I understand that saying payment's too high. Remember we looked at the SV model, and now we're on the SR. Maybe we can look back at the SV model, and maybe we can get those numbers right for you. Fair enough.
Okay, I like that. Joe, why don't you hit me with something different? Payments too. Joe, I love the car, man. I love the car. Things are going. I mean, I just can't afford that payment. The payment's too high.
I understand that payment's too high. Now, as you already know, we talked about a little bit, with the payment and down payment, everything works like a seesaw. So maybe, a little bit more cash down. When's your next payment due, by the way?
My next payment actually is due in 10 days.
Well, we could add that to the down payment. That's going to help out a little bit because, as you know, every little bit counts. And excuse me, I'm going to get Ross to take care of your lunch today, so we could actually add that to it as well. That sound fair?
That sounds fair enough. That sounds fair enough. Hunter, payment's too high, brother. Let me tell you something. I love the Frontier truck. I just can't pay $600 for it, man. But I love the truck. Payment's just too high.
I totally understand.
Go ahead. Speak it up, man.
Yeah, really. I need a TO.
James said payment's too high.
Yeah, I'm like, Jamie, fix it here. No,
Sorry, hey, listen, man, we're practicing here, so we don't have to out there.
yeah, no, I understand.
There you go.
The
There you
down
go.
payment was the thing that, that's usually, the seesaw. I use that a lot. Down payment.
Talk to me. Talk to me. I'm a customer. Listen, Hunter, I love the Frontier, man. I love it. Payment's too high, man. Payment's too high.
Totally understand. Trying to use something different, than that.
Okay, so check this out. All the answers. Ted gave a good answer. Joe gave it a good answer. Hunter, obviously, you got folks in front of you. You're thinking it through, trying to come up with something different. Number one, we want to make sure that we have at least 2 or 3 or 4 things we can say to every objection. Right? If we're not there, we're not strong enough. But before we actually cover the objection, guys, I think you need to add validity to whatever the consumer says to you. In this circumstance, I say I love the Frontier truck. I just can't pay $650 a month. Okay. So there's a couple things that I think we need to go through. Again, this doesn't mean we're going to close every deal, but I want you to understand something. When someone says I just can't pay $650 a month, my first question is, I may say, Hunter, listen, I totally get it with brother. I know you love the truck. Truck's got options and features your other vehicle doesn't have. But when you say you can't afford the payment, or their payment is too high? When you say high, are you saying it's too high for the car, for the Frontier? Like you don't see the value? or is it too high for your monthly budget? Now all I'm doing is dividing this out for a second. Let me just, because remember, when customers negotiate, so many people negotiate because they think they're supposed to, not because they know how to. This is a valid concern for a lot of people when they say it's too high, but I want them to reaffirm to me, is it too high because of the vehicle we selected? You don't think it's worth $650? Or you're saying it's just too high strictly for your budget? Guy says, man, it's too high for my budget. I think the truck's probably worth it, but I just, it's too high for my budget. Then the next thing is I'm going to say, okay, so listen to me. I always break things down to the difference. And there's 4 or 5 different ways to go about this. But the next thing I would do is I would say, okay, so I know you're seeing $650 and I know you're paying $400 a month. We're really only $250 difference, right? We're only $250 difference. So, and I know you think it's too high, but remember, and so now the next thing you want to do is you want to make sure, just like I've told you guys, but if you take the time to do it, right, and the angle that Joe and Ted took with term and cash is always you want to have that in your back pocket. But look, right? The old Ben Franklin worked in the 60s, worked in the 80s, works in the 2000s. It's not about pros and cons. It's about isolating what people see more than what they hear. So if they're going to a truck and they have an SUV, but they have a need for a truck, that's why they're going to a Frontier. We got to identify, look, man, you're going to a truck. You're getting out of the SUV. The reason why you need the truck was the things you shared with me earlier in the needs assessment. Remember when you told me, right? Here we go. The attorney, I know what I'm saying. I justify the needs that he had again. And then I say, this is a 2024, right? And you're trading in a 21, right? So you're 3 models year up. So look, we got inflation. So we know things are going to go up. I know you're saying that it's too high for the budget, but here's the reality. We're really not 650. We're really 250. We're really 250 in difference. So my question to you is, for $250, I mean, what are we talking about? Talking about $10 a day, right? So we want to break things down, right? So it's $10 a day. Don't get me wrong. It's your money, not mine. I'm not saying 250 is not a lot of money. I'm really not. However, for what you're getting, here's the reality. When you leave here today, 2 things are going to happen. If we don't get together on this Frontier, the truck you want, 2 things are going to happen. The first thing is you still are leaving out of here at a $450 payment, and you still got 3 years left. You still got $14,000 to pay on something you don't like or you want to get out of. That's number one. And the second thing, which is more important, is you still leave here in an SUV, not a truck. You're still leaving in an SUV, not a truck. So here's my alternative. We're looking at a 24. I can't really move with you on the payment because the numbers are the numbers. We can extend the term, or if you want, we can go to a certified 22 to 23 model and probably get you super close. Would you be open-minded to that? Right? So you want to deviate to different models, different price points. You've got like what Joe said was great. When's your next payment due? Right? Cash. Figure out how we can get more cash from the deal. At the end of the day, though, the thing I want you to remember is anybody gives you an objection, the first thing we want to do is we want to isolate and split it. We want to affirm, hey, I understand what you're saying. A lot of my customers feel the exact same way. Can I ask you something real quick before we get into the numbers? When you say not enough for my trade, when you say my payment's too high, when you say, we want to split it up and make them get them to validate and actually make sure, does this guy really want to get down and negotiate, or is he just throwing something out there that's a stall and I'm dancing trying to figure it out when really I ain't got to dance too hard? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right. Okay, guys. My time is done. I need you guys, look, a couple things to take away. Facebook countdown, social media countdown, your sold customers. Go back and get all your sold customers from, if you could go back, anybody you sold 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, and let them know you're closing out November strong. Put together an email and a video and say, listen, I know I sold you something 2 years ago. Don't know if you still have it. If you'd love to trade or be interested in trading, now's the perfect time. But even if you don't, if you know anybody, I got 4 days left in the month. I'd love to be able to service them and help them. Please call me directly. Here's my number. Listen, it costs you nothing to do that but time. Okay? And everybody should have at least 50 videos and emails that you can send out this year, because I know everybody in the room's at least sold 50 cars this year, 5 a month. right? I know you've got at least that much that you can send out a Thanksgiving email and a Thanksgiving video and just appreciate, the business and do what you got to do to make sure you maximize that. In the interim, we still got to get on these service calls. Have you guys started making those service calls?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, remember on the service call, I saw your car in the service department. A guy by the name of Anthony saw the car and absolutely freaking loved the car and just wanted to know if you'd be interested in selling the car. No, I'm not interested. Funny how you said that. Had you been interested, you'd have called us. Okay. So again, that's how we handle that. And then we ask them if we can give them more car than more money than what the car was worth. That makes a difference as well. Are you?